It just instill you have to have that self-belief. Arena went silent. You could literally hear a pin drop. Man, I'm a machine, I guess.
That's called
And
corruption.
Yeah, of course, but it's a known thing.
It seems like he's juiced.
You hurt somebody, go straight to the body. You hurt somebody to the jaw, they're gonna start protecting your head. Errol Spence, he's never gonna be the same. He was beat up that bad and hurt.
That guy is juiced for 100%.
I feel like he's just a puppet to the puppet show. That's not a myth. That's like the history of boxing, how it first started. So if you dehydrate yourself too much and you cut weight the wrong way, you take away that film from your brain and that cushion from your brain, and then you're getting punched. There's a certain film. Maybe why aren't we allowed to visit certain parts of Antarctica?
Ooh, you know? That's the question. Okay, let's go boxing. How do you know Sam?
6th grade, me and Sam, we didn't know each other. But yeah, just, you know how it goes in school. You hear that a fight is going to happen, so you go. And then he was recording. And like, again, it was just supposed to be body shots. But the first punch I threw was straight to the guy's face. And I just, beat him up. I was a lot smaller than him. And after that, me and Sam always kind of like bumped into each other. And I was like, hey, what's up? How are you? And
he was filming like you fight?
Yeah, in the bathroom in 6th grade.
You still got the video?
No, I don't think he has it.
Man.
I know, that would be funny, huh? But yeah, I hadn't even started boxing, nothing yet. I was just a, short, chubby kid, a lot of energy, not into sports yet, And, yeah, I just, never let anybody do too much to me.
And how did you get into boxing?
I was 12. I was turning 13, so I culminated 8th grade. And I kept bugging my dad. I was like, oh, tell your buddy Mikey, like, let me start to train because he's a kickboxer. So that summer I started in the mornings training kickboxing with him. And, I would, kick the bags, hit the bags, whatever. And then I started sparring a little bit with his buddies. They would take it easy on me because, I was small, 12 years old. And then, at the time I was still playing soccer. I was swimming competitively. And I just got the boxing bug, man. I just fell in love with it. And I just kept going back to the gym. I stopped training with that guy and just trained strictly boxing. And then, I just kept training and training and training.
Bro, you were swimming, you were playing soccer, and still were chubby.
Yeah. No, not that. No, we fast forwarded a lot of time.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But yeah, in 6th grade, I was about 11 years old. So like a year and a half later.
How many fights did you have as an amateur?
I had 103.
What? Mm-hmm. 103 fights?
Yeah.
How many did you win?
I was 91-12.
103 fights?
Yeah.
In what period of time? So
my first fight was in, I believe, 2013, and my last fight was in Uruguay. I made my pro debut February 29, 2020, so I had to be in 2019. So in that period of, what is that, 7 years. 6, 7 years, yeah. 6, 7 years out of 103
So
fights.
you fight a few times a month?
Oh, yeah, in the amateurs?
Yeah.
So when I first started, I made my first amateur fight at a local show. So you go and you weigh in, and how a local show works is if you get a fight, your name goes on the board, and if there's like a similar person to you, with no fights or maybe one fight, you could go ahead and ask the coach. Your coach asks the other coach, like, hey, you want to make this matchup happen? You can make it happen. Cool. And then there's another way you could do it. You could go to tournaments. So the coach I was with at the time, we did, my first amateur fight. Cool, I won. Then I go to a tournament. They don't do it anymore, but it's called the Desert Showdown. It's in Palm Springs. It was my first tournament. They have a novice division, the beginner division, 10 fights and below. So boom, I did that. I won the tournament. And then after that, it said I had 4 fights on my book, but my coach at the time kind of forged more fights on my book to make me open class. Because he was like, yo, you started a little late. Most kids start at 8 years old. Yeah. You started boxing at 12, turning 13. Your first fight is when you're 13. Let's, make you open. Of course, me as a little kid, I'm going to trust him and be like, yeah, let's do it.
And what does it mean, open?
So you're fighting guys with 11 fights or 500 fights.
But
It doesn't
your
matter.
weight
But I had
category.
4. I was still a novice fighter, a beginner.
Yeah.
A beginner, right? But ultimately, him doing that, it kind of, it kind of helped me. Him throwing me to the wolves, kind of helped me because I kept winning. Then I had a loss, and I kept winning. And within my first year of competing, I had a gold medal in Russia representing the United States, and I also won a bronze medal in the Junior Olympics. Junior Olympics is the age group 15 to 16 years old. But since my birthday's in September, I was always like a year behind. I was 14 fighting 15, 16.
Yeah.
I was 16 fighting 17, 18. Just because, like, the birthday cutoff for the division.
And what was your weight at the time?
At that time, I won the bronze at 114 pounds. And then the gold medal in Russia, I won at 110 pounds. Right now, I'm fighting at 130. That's going to be my next fight. And then shortly after that, we're going to drop down to featherweight, 126. And that's where I'll win my first world
When
title.
was the last time you weighed in 126?
My professional debut, I weighed in at 128 something. But
That
since
was
they
4 years ago.
Yeah, since they went ahead and they changed the weight last second to 130, I just drank some water and stuff, and I weighed in like 129.6 or something like that. I believe that's what it shows on BoxRec. But that
Was
day
that a rough cut?
No, it was just, it was just a cut. Every cut is, not.
You're thick.
Yeah,
You're not
I'm
skinny.
a stocky. I know, I'm a stocky guy, yeah.
And all your competitors, if at the same weight, they're longer than you, right?
Kind of. It just depends. It depends. But yeah, most of the time. In my last 3 years of fighting amateur, I fought at 64 kilos, which is 141 pounds.
Yeah.
And everybody was taller than me in that division. I fought one guy who was shorter than me. I'm about like 5'5", 5'6". So there's not much guys. They're either the same height or taller than me. So yeah.
You got to cut the distance pretty fast
Yeah.
to get him.
Yeah.
What's the main difference between the amateur and pro? So in the amateurs, you always fight with a helmet, right?
Not
Or
always.
Not always.
Before I turned pro, I fought internationally in 2-3 different countries, and no, actually 4 different countries. And for those 4 or 5 different countries, yeah, I fought in Russia, England, Ireland, Uruguay. So 4 different countries. And the only country I didn't fight without headgear because of the age group was Russia. I was fighting 15, 16. So once you get to the elite male, which is 19 to 40 age group, you fight without headgear internationally. So I had 9 or 12 fights without headgear before I turned pro in the amateurs.
But it's still possible to knock a person out with a helmet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I had like, I don't know how many knockouts I had, but there was a couple where, the headgear only protects you from, let's just say cuts,
Mm-hmm.
We're getting in, especially in the amateurs, you only have 3-minute rounds. You rush your work. Sometimes you get in on accident with your head. It's only protecting you from cuts.
What about the nose? Does it protect your nose?
No, it's open face. So the headgear is just protecting here, like a square rectangle, surface of your face.
But the things that are here, they don't stick out as much as to protect your nose, right?
So when you're sparring in the gym, you will have that. But as far as like when you go and compete in a national tournament here in the United States, they use now like a brand Sting, and it's a very thin headgear, like kind of like the old school Mike Tyson headgear. That again, it only protects you from cuts.
the cuts, that's
because you don't want a super padded headgear where when you're training and sparring, you're just pulling up a high guard and taking these crazy shots, right? And you're like, oh. Like these shots aren't doing. No. You should practice defense. You should practice moving the punch out the way. You should practice moving your head, because if you think that and then you put on 8-ounce gloves with no headgear and you get hit, it's a whole different ball game. You know what I mean?
So amateurs and pros. So helmets are not necessarily there. Only 3 minutes rounds.
Yeah. So
3-minute rounds.
3-minute rounds. Headgear is not necessarily there, but let's just say it is.
Yeah.
And the point system is different. In the pros, you're trying to land, like, for example, me and you are fighting, and I'm just throwing little taps, like tapping you with my knuckles. That's all points in the amateurs.
Yeah.
But in the pros, if you're blocking it with your arms moving, that is absolutely no points. You're just blowing off steam, wasting energy.
Yeah.
So I could throw 100 taps. 100 taps with my knuckles. I'm not getting any points. But if you throw one good one in that round, boom, turn the head or land a solid one, you win the round. You have the sufficient, punches, the accurate punches, and you're doing more damage. Yeah, in the pros.
And what's the decision when you make switching from amateurs to pros? Just up to you? Like from now on, I'm a pro. That's it.
Yeah, so it's kind of just up to you. So you're amateur, you have experience. Some amateurs get signed straight out of the amateur circuit. You're an Olympian or a medalist in the Olympics, or you just know the right person, and you have the connection. You get signed right out of the amateurs. Proper guidance, all that good stuff. Or you could do it like, for a good example, Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia. They were 17. They couldn't turn pro in the United States, so they built a record a little bit in Mexico. They go over there and they fight and build a record there, and they just turn professional. You just say, yeah, I'm professional, I have X, Y, and Z experience. You're allowed to get your professional license, and then they just build a record.
In the US you have an age restriction for pros.
Pros, yeah.
18
here in California. In Las Vegas, I believe it's 17. But again, if you're just turning pro and you don't have backing behind you, it's it's more of a process to get to a certain level where you're on the right side of boxing and the right side of politics in boxing.
So how do you get your first fights? If you just turned pro.
Okay, for me,
yeah.
Shout out to the MR Army. I have a great fan base and a great support system. With all my sponsors and with everybody supporting me here in LA, I sell a lot of tickets.
How did you get those followers?
I just posted training clips of me on Instagram, and little by little started building my fan base here in LA and here in the San Fernando Valley. But also I started working with kids and training kids since I was 15 years old. So training kids, shaking the hands of the parents, those are all the true people who buy tickets and come to my fight. It's not really Instagram followers. It's more so the people that I have like a personal interaction with. Eye contact, shake their hands, train their kids, make sure their kids are not doing anything bad. They're just in the gym staying focused. And boxing teaches them discipline, it teaches them structure. They have a mentor like myself. But yeah, it's more so like that, is working with these kids throughout different gyms and training them.
So you got your followers, and your first fight?
My first fight, February 29, 2020, the Burbank Marriott on a Bash card. The promoter was Bash Boxing. Good promoter, good local promoter, and I sold the place out. My first pro debut. I had an opponent on 5 days' notice. That dude dropped out because he wasn't getting enough money to fight me. I guess he did a little bit of research and was like, listen, this guy's a killer. I want more money. I want this. And they were like, you're not going to get much more than what you're asking for. So on 5 days' notice, usually on your pro debut, you don't fight somebody that has a winning record, meaning more wins than losses. But I fought an undefeated fighter. I fought a fighter who had never lost before. He was 1 win, 0 losses. So 1-0, 1 knockout. 34-year-old ex-Marine.
34-year-old?
Yeah.
And you were 20?
Yeah. No, I was 21. And, I knocked him out in the third round. I dropped him in the first at the last, 10 seconds. Hit him with a nice overhand right. He threw a lazy jab. Second round, he was still kind of buzzed, still kind of hurt. He didn't recover. And then he was kind of coming back a little bit, because I was catching my breath, all those people, your first pro debut, everyone's screaming. I sold the place out, sold a lot of tickets. And
how do you know that you sold out?
Because the promoter told me. He also gave me extra money to my fight check. He was like, hey, you did a really good job selling tickets. Here's a little extra money, which was cool of him.
Can you share how much did you make?
It wasn't a lot. It was like under $1,000, let's just say.
for the performance, for the appearance.
Yeah, yeah. That's what happens. Look, boxing is you know, it was fair though. It was fair. Let's just say it was fair.
$1,000.
Yeah, less than $1,000. Then you have to pay 10% to your coach, and if you have a manager, whatever stipulations you have with your manager, whether it be 15%, 20%, 10%.
Uncle Sam.
Uncle Sam. So you're not really seeing much, but again, it was my pro debut. I was happy to be there. I did a good performance, knocking out an undefeated fighter in my pro debut.
What was he thinking? 34 years old, one professional fight.
I don't know. He just picked it up. He was pretty strong. He had that military background.
Yeah.
He was a veteran, so he had a strong mindset. He kept getting up. And, yeah, I stopped him in the third.
34 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 36. I cannot only imagine. How did he feel?
I don't know.
Do you know
was in
whether
good shape.
he trained boxing for at least a decade?
I don't know.
No
to
idea?
be honest with you. He probably had some sort of, boxing training in the military. They do that. You know what I mean?
That was this guy, Maximilian Eredon?
Yeah.
That's the guy?
Yeah.
Okay. So then that's 2020, February 29th.
And
That's a
then-
good date. 29th of February.
Yeah, it's a good date if there wasn't COVID.
Yeah.
10 days later or 14 days later, everything was shut down. I was on a roll. I felt good. There were some, talks about me and buzz about my name, and then COVID happened and no fights were happening. So for like 2 years,
How did you make your money that time? Because boxing didn't get you any money.
there was no money there. There was no money. I wasn't making money.
You were living with your dad?
Yeah, with my parents. Yeah, both my parents.
Okay. So the next fight is a year after, 20th of February.
Yeah, but BoxRec, I had my second pro fight. They didn't count it. I had my second pro fight in Rosarito, Mexico. I won a first round knockout. The guy was 3-2, 3 wins, 2 losses, and I won on a first round KO. But due to boxing politics, the Rosarito Commission in Mexico was stealing business from the Tijuana Commission, and the people on BoxRec are cool with the Tijuana Commission. They're like, hey, don't count these fights because, we want our money's worth. And since they're doing cheaper fights, everyone's going there and not coming to us. And we're the only place open right now during COVID.
Yeah.
So, they're stealing our money. So yeah, I should really be 9-0 with 7 knockouts. And then just to skip forward a little bit, in December, I was supposed to fight some guy. And on the day of the fight, they turned into an exhibition. And that fight, it's an exhibition. It was not
Doesn't count
counted
as a pro.
on my record, so I should be 10-0 with 8 knockouts. So yeah.
Man, what was the problem with fights during because there was a layoff, right?
Yeah.
A little bit. You get
I had here in the local area, I was fighting on local cards, but then kind of like a problem that we bumped into with my pro debut, people were asking for more money, and some of these local cards can't provide more money. I was selling a good amount of tickets, and people would pull out. So I had a total in my career, 13 fights canceled, whether it be 3 days before the fight, a week, 2 weeks, canceled.
weight cut is done. You're almost ready
Yeah.
get-
I went through the whole camp. I did the sparrings. I did this. I did that. 13 fights canceled. So imagine if I had those 13 fights, I would be like 21-0. Right? You know what I mean?
I saw. I was going through your Instagram,
Yeah.
and you have pictures with Loma. You've got pictures with the Tank Davis.
Yeah.
You sparred with him.
Yeah, I sparred with many pros. I started sparring pros at 16 years old. And the first, legendary pro that I sparred was Loma. I was 17 years old. I was still amateur. He used to train in Oxnard.
Yes.
But it was like an upstairs gym, like a private upstairs gym. And I was downstairs sparring with other pros, good pros. And, I was getting the better of them, and I was looking good. And, I was getting the better of them, Because in sparring, there's no winning or losing. But, yeah, I was doing good. And then one of the trainers downstairs was like, no, you should go upstairs and spar Loma. You're giving these guys hell. Go upstairs and see what you're about, And I was 17, getting ready for the Golden Gloves, the National Golden Gloves. And, I was nervous, this and that. And, yeah, we did like 3-4 rounds together. And it was a good experience. I really appreciated him doing that.
How was the guy? Humble?
Loma?
Yeah.
Yeah, super humble. He just, said good job and did his workout.
And that's the same gym where Mean Machine trains, right?
Yeah, yeah,
In Oxnard.
yeah. That's how I know Mean Machine. Yeah.
Do you know him well?
We're not like super close,
Yeah.
but every time we see each other, we say what's up and like, hey, how are you doing? How's life? And yeah.
He's way older than you. He's, I want to say, 30, just like me, 35 to 36.
Yeah.
How about Tank Davis?
Tank Davis, that was another crazy story. It was when he was going to fight Abner Mares before Abner got hurt with his eye. And it was the day after Christmas. And I was in the gym training hard. And I just finished. I remember I was on the speed bag. Boom, 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 boom. And then my coach at the time came up to me and he was like, hey, I just got a call. Do you want to go spar Loma? Not Loma, Tank Davis. You want to go spar Tank Davis? And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, do you see me? I'm covered in sweat. I'm tired, he's like, yeah, but 6 rounds. Like, let's go.
And when was that?
The day after Christmas, December 26th, I think 2018. I believe 2018. I'll have to look at my camera roll when we took the photo. But we sat there, and I was just like, man, like, yeah, let's go. What's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to, say, like, I don't want to do it no more. Like, I did 4 rounds, whatever. So we go there. He's actually very humble. I thought he was going to
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's actually very humble, very good guy. And his team, his coach, Calvin, they're very good people. So we get to 10 Goose, and he's just shadow boxing. I said, hey, how are you doing? He said, hey, what's up, man? How are you doing? He said, let's do 6 rounds today. I said, perfect, let's do it. And it was just, it was great work, In my head, I was like, hey, this is Tank Davis, this and that.
Yeah, but that was 2018. He was not that big as he is right now.
Nah, but everybody knew him as a power puncher, this and that. I was still amateur. But long story short, it was a great sparring, 6 rounds. We were going at it. And afterwards, he's like, hey, man, how many fights you got? And I was like, I have 103 fights. And he was like, pro? And I was like,
100 pro fights?
Yeah, I was like, no, not pro. I'm still amateur. And he's like, man, you need to turn pro. You need to turn pro. I'm telling you right now, you need to turn pro. I was like, well, I really appreciate the work and thanks for the compliments. And, his coach was giving me respect, this and that. And, yeah, it was great work. When you are younger and you're working with world champions, you just go in there and you do your job. You go in there and give them, you give them hell. And yeah, that's what I do.
What's the gym where he trains? 10
Goose is just a gym that he was visiting while he was in LA, because I think one of the press conferences for the fight was here in LA the day after Christmas.
But he's a Californian, or no?
Who? Tank Davis?
Tank.
No, he's from Baltimore.
Yeah, but he lives right now here in LA, or not?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure. Maybe Florida, maybe Baltimore, maybe, I don't know.
The question is the following. So, I don't know whether you know there's another Lithuanian boxer that is a champion right now. His name is Eimantas Stanionis.
Yeah.
He's a welterweight.
Yeah.
So he's undefeated.
He beat Butaev.
Yes. He was supposed to fight Ortiz. He pulled out 2 times, and he just had a fight a month ago.
Ortiz pulled out 2 times?
Yeah, 2 times. Okay. So I filmed this guy back in Lithuania, and I saw him training. I saw him sparring with the Brits, with the guys from Scotland, and he was demolishing them.
Yeah.
And that was the time when I realized that there is, how people say there are levels to the game, right? That's when I realized that the champ has the mindset and the work that he is able to do has nothing similar to an amateur or just a regular guy. You can be like motivated, all that stuff, but the champ is the champ.
Yeah.
Do you recognize that sparring with the Loma, with the Tank?
It's just like you just said, it's a mindset. So when I go in there, you have to have like self-belief. Like, yeah, I was tired, yeah, this, yeah, that, but I was like, no, like fuck this. Like, I'm the fucking champ. Like, you know what I mean? I got to see what I'm made of. Like, if I believe that I'm going to be champion of the world one day and this and that, which I am soon, featherweight division, watch out, I'm coming. But, I got in there and I tested myself and I did great. So how are you going to know? How are you going to know that, without testing yourself, if you're really like that?
But how do you get that mindset? By testing yourself, by sparring and winning as an amateur and as a pro? some kind of lectures, books, some kind of a motivation, like Kobe Bryant, something like that?
No, it's just a mentality. You just have to have that mentality.
You mean
If you're
just instilled in you?
it just instill you. You have to have that self-belief. Muhammad Ali said it the best. There's still a quote that he said that I didn't even know that I was the best yet, but I told everybody that I was the best. You know what I mean? So you have to have that mindset in the sport of boxing. The sport of boxing is not a team sport. You could have the best coaches, you could have the best team, you could have the best everything, but at the end of the day, there's nobody with a remote control controlling you. You have to get in there and fight the fight yourself. You know what I mean? It's just you and the other person across from you. So if you don't have that mindset of, no, I'm the champ, I'm the killer, you know, it's his time right now, cool, but I'm up next, you know? And that's the type of mentality I personally have.
Yeah, but in regards to Ali, he was a trash talker. He was, I want to say, the original one. Do you think he really believed what he was saying?
Yeah, and he was also...
Not like fighting an alligator or switching the lights off.
But he was paving the way to promote fights better.
Yeah.
You know, fights aren't going to be interesting and people aren't going to come to watch fights without some sort of spectacle, without some sort of like, you know, I wouldn't say you don't always have to trash talk, but with some sort of excitement, you know? If you're not a power puncher, you know, and your style doesn't naturally sell and get people to come and watch you fight. Because if somebody's like, oh, like, this guy's quiet, but he knocks everybody out cold, you know, people are going to come watch him fight.
Yeah.
But if you're not like that and, you know, he kind of sees that people are, oh, he's just a pretty boy, he's just this. He's like, okay, I'll take that to my advantage. I am a pretty boy. I wrestle with alligators, blah, 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 blah. You know, he uses it to his advantage. So I believe that he paved the way to start promoting fights better.
But there are two schools of trash talking, or just being on just getting with the audience, right? So American style is like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, all that stuff. And the other one is, I want to say, after the yesterday's fights, it's Ukrainian style. Prior to that, for a decade, the Klitschko brothers were just terrorizing the whole division, right? They held, both of them held all the belts. Now we have Usyk. Did you watch the fight yesterday?
I was driving to San Diego. I was watching, I was on my way to support my friend Emiliano Vargas, but I caught a couple clips. Everyone just, I didn't watch the whole fight, but everyone just posted the clip of Usyk hurting Tyson Fury.
Yeah, that was the ninth round.
Yeah,
the referee saved him. That had to be a knockout. So no trash talk from Usyk, no trash talk from Lomachenko, no trash talk from the Klitschko brothers. But they dominate.
Yeah.
But they don't sell. I don't believe they sell a lot of tickets.
I don't know.
Tyson sells.
Yeah, he does.
But he talks a lot of shit.
But look, like, England gets behind their people. Look at the English, let's go back to soccer. Look at the English soccer fan base. Look at the English boxing fan base. You know what I mean? Like, it's just different. It's like, have you ever seen a Mexican fighter, like a Mexican fighter fight live?
No,
like,
never.
Their fan base is the biggest fan base in boxing.
They go crazy, right?
The Latino community, the Mexican fan base, the all Latino community, but the Mexican fan base, it's crazy. It is nuts. I was at a live Amir Khan versus Canelo. Man, when because Canelo, the whole fight was just getting outpointed. He wasn't getting hard shots landed on him or anything. Boom, he knocks him out. I swear, and it was at AT&T in Vegas.
Yeah.
The whole arena went silent. You could literally hear a pin drop for a split second, and then literally it was shaking. Like, I had to close my ears. Like, the fan base was crazy, nuts. Like, so I think that's why that, you know, maybe they don't sell as many tickets. You know, it's different.
But that's what the Irish do, right? When Conor fights, the whole Vegas is filled with Irish guys.
Yeah, because they're behind their countrymen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've visited, you know, Ukraine and Russia are two different countries. But, you know, the Russian people are kind of like stern-faced, you know, stone cold. I was in Red Square. I was also in Nadim, Siberia, and like yeah, they'll support their countrymen, but it's kind of different. You know what I mean? It's different. The countries are different. I feel like that's why the support and the screams and the stadiums are more full for Tyson Fury because A, it's a bigger country, and B, it's like they're more supportive. You know what I mean?
So when I started watching the UFC and the MMA, I got into MMA in 2010. I was a big movie guy, and I watched the movie The A-Team, and there was Rampage Jackson staring at the movie, and I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" I started googling this guy, and I saw his highlights on YouTube, and I was like, "What is he doing with those guys with the one-punch knockouts?" And then I got to know Fedor Emelianenko. And I was always surprised he was no trash talk at all, but he was knocking people out like
killer.
A killer. And that's the same mentality just like the Ukrainians have right now. The Loma, Usyk, no bad words at all. No cussing, no that stuff. But once they get into the ring, man, they deliver.
Yeah.
Every time.
I would say like I like that, I like that mentality. I don't like. They say that the guy that's the loudest in the room is the scaredest.
Yeah.
When you're quiet, you're confident in yourself. You're calm. You don't have to scream. You don't have to yell. You don't have to do anything like that. You know exactly what you're gonna do.
But do you think that's kind of almost impossible right now to get the big fights if you're not present on Instagram and TikTok, maybe on YouTube?
Look, do you know Virtual Ortiz?
Yeah.
He's not a big trash talker. He's very respectful. Yeah, he has a following on social media, but it's just his style. Look, he knocks everybody out.
Yeah.
Is he as known as like other people who talk trash and this and that? No, but he doesn't have to do all that. He doesn't have to. His style and his performances, speak for themselves. So I feel like that's where it comes into play too. Like Usyk, incredible footwork, 2-time Olympic champion, right?
One-time
Olympic,
two-time.
Yeah, 1-time Olympic champion and
undisputed cruiserweight. Right now, disputed heavyweight.
There we go. So
he accomplished boxing.
That speaks levels. He doesn't really have to do much talking. What do you have to do? What talking do you have to do? You know what I mean? But
were you surprised him winning against
Fury?
No, Joshua, the first fight.
No, I wasn't surprised about that one, but I did have Tyson Fury winning this one. I think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
I think Tyson Fury is bigger, but it's not about being bigger. It's that he's just as good as Usyk, like style-wise, and all of his skills, skill-wise. And then when you're bigger and you're the same skill, but Usyk proved everybody wrong, and that's the beauty about boxing. You know what I mean? Anybody can be beaten on any given day.
Yeah, but Tyson Fury is such a prodigy. He's so tall. He's so chubby. It's like nothing athletic in this guy. He's so quick. He throws those punches. Yeah. Man.
Very quick, good on his feet.
Great on his feet.
He moves like a middleweight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's so tall. The difference yesterday that was shown on the ring is like, bro, like this. He's much more bigger than him. We were talking behind the cameras about Terence Crawford, that the guy is still underrated as hell, and he knocks people out. I want to say he's pound for pound number one right now, but he doesn't run his mouth. He's from Omaha, right? Nebraska. It's like, why don't people recognize the guy? He's a legend.
It's not because he doesn't run his mouth, like his performance and speak. It's not because of that. Like, I believe it's because of promotional issues. Like his promoter, right now he's like a free agent. He does like 2-fight deals, 1-fight deals with whoever.
He cut the ties with Top Rank, right?
Yeah, and I feel like he wasn't promoted right. He's getting all this recognition now that he's promotionally free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But back when he was with Top Rank, they didn't really promote him right. He was undisputed at 140. He started at lightweight 135 and beat, really good people there, and then became undisputed at 140, and now he's doing his thing at 147. He's undisputed at 147, right? Or used to be when he beat Errol Spence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knocked him out.
It
Not
was,
just a decision.
no, he beat him up like bad. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just feel that it was a promotional issue for sure. I don't feel like it's because he doesn't run his mouth. I feel like everybody in boxing, like, they should just stay to their character. That's what makes you you. If you
Yes.
like step out of your character, it just doesn't look right. Like, if you know somebody doesn't talk and then they try to like talk shit, it's like
You can feel it.
you could feel it. It's like, bro, that's not in you. Like, be you. Don't try to hop on a trend. Don't try to not like be yourself, you know? Like, that's what makes you you. And if people are gonna support you, they're gonna support you. And if people are not, they're not. And it's that simple.
Are you a UFC guy?
I like UFC.
You know
yeah.
Colby Covington?
Yeah.
Do you remember his transition?
Uh-huh.
So I liked what he said. He said, "I didn't change. I just turned it up to 100." That was the guy. I was always this guy, but I just turned up the volume to 100%.
Yeah.
Maybe
but
that's what you have to do. If you're like this, just turn it up. Don't change yourself. Just be like you, but full throttle.
I just feel like, nah, I don't. Colby Covington, I feel like he hires girls to be around him. He's not really like that. You know what I mean? I feel like he says that, don't get me wrong, but he's not really like that because not one person, not two people, not five people, but like a lot of people in the UFC say the same thing about him. That he just, hires people to be around him. That's not really him. He could say that, oh, I've always been like this, I just turn it up. But you could tell, like we were saying before, like you could tell that that's not him. You know what I mean? But it sells.
But once you talk that shit, you have to deliver. You have to back it up.
Yeah.
Conor delivers every time.
Yeah.
But he didn't deliver in his last fight against Leon Edwards. Did you watch that fight?
Yeah, I watched that fight.
It was terrible. It's like, what are you doing in this octagon? You don't
Yeah.
belong here.
Yeah.
What's that? And he said, I won the fight. No, bro, that's it. I don't think he's gonna come back.
Maybe, I don't know. I kind of contradicted myself back there. I said, yeah, it kind of sells, and before I was saying it doesn't sell, but I don't know. It depends. Like right now in this social media world, I guess you're kind of right. Like, people just love drama. People love to talk. When you go on Instagram, under the comments, you just see all negativity. Everybody, wants to state their opinion, and maybe you're kind of right. But me personally, maybe I was just saying my personal thing, but yeah, fighters should stay their character, but I don't know. That was a good example because Colby wasn't selling in the beginning when he was quiet.
Yeah.
And then he did start to sell and make more money when, he was doing more of
You
the
filthy
talking.
animals, the Brazilians, all that shit.
Yeah.
But he delivered in those two fights against Kamaru Usman. He delivered.
Yeah, they were close.
Those were great fights, amazing fights.
Yeah.
Are you a free agent right now?
Yeah, I am. I'm working with my advisor, Ray Alcorta. Shout out to him. I'm working with my manager, Ron Baha. He's a very good friend of mine. And and all my sponsors. We just find fights here in the LA area. And I'm not signed to anybody. It's just, I could sell tickets. And we make fights happen.
So what I like about the MMA, there are promotions, right? So there's the UFC, there was Bellator, right now it's purchased by PFL, so there's PFL, then there's ONE FC, and that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
In boxing, well, first of all, you have how many belts do you have? 4 major belts, right?
WBC, WBO, WBA, IBF.
IBF.
Ring Magazine.
IBO,
but that's not that. I mean, that's a known one, but that's not like major. Like, yeah, four of the main ones are the first 4 that we stated.
And then you have promoters.
Mm-hmm.
In America, you've got what? Top Rank is the best promoter.
Right now, I believe Matchroom and Top Rank are like top right now, and then Golden Boy, and then PPC right now, just because they're rebuilding right now. But I believe so, yeah.
Eddie Hearn is Matchroom? No.
Yeah.
Matchroom. He's from UK.
Yeah.
Top Rank is Bob Arum.
Bob Arum. Golden Boy is
Oscar De La Hoya.
Oscar De La Hoya, and then PBC is Al Heyman.
So if you had the chance to work with all of them, who would you choose and why?
It doesn't matter really, like, specifically who it would be. It's just, if the money's right, the money's right. You know what I mean? Like let's just say Top Rank offers me something. There's minimums and maximums. Per fight, you're going to get this minimum, or if it's more dangerous, maximum this, but they're going to help promote my career better worldwide, so I'm more known worldwide. But for example, if another promotion gave me a deal and it was more money, but promotional wise they weren't gonna really help me promote myself worldwide, then you have to balance out the two. Am I gonna go with more money and just use this platform of social media to help myself gain more worldwide notice, or am I going to take less money and help myself, be promoted worldwide? So it just depends on that, and it depends on the deal. Me personally, that's how I would look at it.
So right now you're just sitting and waiting for the call?
No, I'm never sitting and waiting. We're staying ready in the gym, sparring twice a week, training every day hard.
You don't make the calls like, I want to fight?
Yeah, I'm my own boss. I'm my own boss right now, since I am a free agent, I'm my own boss. And I gave my advisor, a date that I'm interested in, and he's working on it. We're going to have a big date that we're dropping soon.
That's July.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. Let's
But
just
definitely not June. It's too early.
You never know.
Bro.
I'm always ready.
Would you be willing to take the fight 7 days?
On 7 days' notice, probably not. It just depends what type of fight. Look, if somebody's like, hey, on 7 days' notice, you're going to fight for, the championship of the world and you're going to make a couple $1 million, would you say no?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I don't fight professionally.
No, but if you were, you would say, yeah,
but if you're undefeated.
Yeah, but
you can ruin
also,
your career, right?
No. It depends. Well, it depends how you lose. If you get blown out of the waters and you just pick up that check for an easy check, of course, nobody's going to take you serious. But if you go out there and, you beat up the champion and, God forbid, you lose on a close decision, okay, they're going to have you back. You just put on a great performance. Like you said, Colby Covington, to go back to what you said, he gave 2 great performances and he continued to get good fights. And there's plenty other examples that we could give in boxing where, yeah, they might have lost, but hey, they gave a great fight and they're going to, have them back. So it just depends on the situation. Never say never.
Yeah, but those are 2 different options. For instance, you remember AJ fighting Andy Ruiz?
Yeah.
Lost by a knockout.
Yeah.
What did people say? He's done, right?
Yeah, but what really happened? People have opinions, and everybody has a right to their opinion, but that doesn't mean it's right. The heavyweight division is kind of like, yeah, you could, have a loss and then, continue with your career. Is he relevant? Anthony Joshua, he's very relevant still. Yeah, he had that loss, but he came back, he rematched him, he won, then he continued to win. He had a loss against Usyk, so there's 2 losses, but he's still very relevant in the sport of boxing. You know what I mean? He's still making great money, but my division is different from the heavyweight division. Yeah, at the lower weight classes, I believe that, boxing's changing anyways,
How many champs there are right now at the featherweight division?
Featherweight division?
Loma just got 1, right?
That's at lightweight.
That's lightweight?
Yeah, 135. So Kambosos was lightweight and
Really?
Lomachenko's lightweight. Yeah. Lomachenko hasn't been featherweight 126 for a while. He won his first championships there and then went up to 130. And now he's at 135.
Oh, yeah, one IBO, vacant IBF lightweight title. Yes.
Yeah.
So who's the champ at the featherweight right now?
I don't
the
know.
majors?
I don't know.
That's the problem with boxing. You never know. There are so many champs.
Venado Lopez, he's a good fighter. I believe he's a champion. Who else is at featherweight? I believe he has a WBC.
Tank Davis is what?
But he's at lightweight. Featherweight is 126, then super featherweight's 130, and lightweight's 135. Tank Davis is at 135 right now. I believe the champions right now 135. I saw Top Rank posted. It's the guy who just beat Navarrete last night. I think he's Russian or Ukrainian. He's 19-0 with 9 KOs. He beat the Mexican champion. Then it's Shakur Stevenson. There's the second one.
Oh, yeah.
Gervonta Davis, the third, and this is at lightweight. And then the fourth, I'm not sure. But yeah.
But that's good. That's the champ at your weight class is not that big. I mean,
Venado?
Yeah.
Venado, I mean, look, featherweight is just a
not Loma,
division.
not Haney, not Davis. Not those guys. Not even Kambosos.
But
Kambosos has a name.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're in the sport of boxing and those guys are in your division, you better be ready to fight those guys. If you truly believe that you're a future world champion, and you truly believe that you're going to be champion, those names better not mean anything to you. It's just a person in the middle of your goal. You know what I mean? And you have to run through them to get to those belts.
At what age at your weight class you reach the potential, the apex? 30?
You're talking about prime?
Yeah, prime.
I would say in between 28 to 32 years old, you're at your prime.
And then you start to decline.
It depends how you take care of your body. Are you, recovering good? Are you listening to your body? Are you drinking every day? Some fighters don't take care of their body. They blow up.
And Loma is, I want to say, 35, right? 36, yeah.
36, yeah.
Would you say he's in his prime? Now?
No, he's not in his prime now, no. But he still has a lot in the tank. He's very disciplined, trains 3 times a day. Obviously, look at his skills. The man is, very, very, very good.
It seems like he's not that fast as he was in the fight, for instance, with Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah, maybe. But remember, styles make fights, and stylistically, you're going to change and adapt to every different fighter. I just believe that, he's had shoulder surgery. He trains very hard. He has a lot of wear and tear. 2-time Olympic champion. He's been boxing for how many years? So it's like, you only know that type of feeling in your body. Like, you're human. You're not a machine, until you do it. So yeah, I kind of, I've been training 3 times a day since I was about 15, 16 years old. So
you still train 3 times a day?
Yeah, 2 to 3 times a day.
Tell me about your schedule.
So I would say a typical Monday for me is I train clients at Hustle Striking. Shout out to Sam Akimi. I train clients in the morning, 9:30 to 10:30, and then I'll head to the gym. I'll train from about 11 to 1:30. I'm home by 1:45 too. I did quick meal prep. Sean, Top Chef 818, one of my sponsors, he provides me those meals. Then I go ahead. So I just said that we did a 2.5-hour training session at the gym. That's without sparring. We're just training. So there's one training down, 2.5 hours. Then I have strength and conditioning with my strength coach, Andres. We train from about 4 to 5:30. And then 5:30 to 6:30, I train my amateur fighters. I have 3 amateur fighters. I also have a group class that I train at the same time with kids, keep them busy, teach them, self-defense, all that good stuff. And then about 6:45 to about 8:30, I'm doing cardio, and then I'll do an infrared sauna session or a regular sauna session, stretching, jacuzzi session. So it's like my cardio at nighttime plus like recovery, stuff like that.
How do you manage to do it? How does your body...
Man, I'm a machine, I guess. I'm a machine. I've been doing it now, 10 years, 2 to 3 times a day.
How do you recover?
Ice baths, listen to your body, sleep more. You know what I mean? If I wake up in the morning, I'm like, man, I'm tired, I'm run down. No, I'll sleep more. That's where all your main recovery is.
How many calories do you take?
Why I'm getting ready for a fight and I need to cut weight.
No, right now, for instance.
Right now,
at this moment.
Whatever I want. It's healthy food, but it's not portioned.
But
when I'm
you
eating
eat
my
a lot.
meal. Yeah, of course.
Like 3,000 minimum, right?
Yeah, minimum. But yeah, when I'm getting ready for the fight and, there's a date locked in and you have to make a specific weight, it's different.
How much do you weigh right now?
Right now, I'm about 147 pounds.
That's not a lot.
No, I keep myself in good shape.
It's like 10 pounds. You're going to...
No, yeah.
To cut the
10 real pounds, but then, you cut water weight and stuff like that. So, it's still a lot of work.
You were supposed to fight at 130.
Yeah.
So 15 pounds? Yeah.
Give or take,
10 pounds of water minimum.
Yeah.
That's great. What do you prefer for cardio?
For
running?
cardio, yeah, but again, I have a swimming background, so I could swim. It's not very hard for me. I mean, swimming's hard, but it's not like, you see some people like sinking when they swim. Me, it's pretty natural. I like to swim. It's not bad on your back or your knees like running.
That's great for your back, actually.
It's great. It's a source of strength training and cardio. Imagine doing sprints and you hold your breath, and every 10 seconds you get a gulp of air, and then you hold your breath again. That's swimming. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would say a little mixture of everything. We have the Airdyne bike, the bicycle that has resistance, but it has like that fan.
Yeah.
That's really good for sprints.
That's an assault bike.
Yeah, an assault bike. Yeah,
This is a killer.
it's worse than sprints on
Yeah.
the street running. It's horrible. But yeah, we got that. We got bicycle riding, of course.
You run a lot?
Yeah, I like to run. It's like a therapy session. I don't like to speed up my runs. I like to do like an 8-minute mile. I mean 8-minute mile, 8.5-minute mile. But I'll go. I could go 6 miles, 7 miles, 8 miles. But I would say on general, on a general day, just to get everything in with my clients and my training schedule, I would say about like 4 or 5 miles a day. 5-6 days a week, depending on how I feel.
If you had to, would you run a marathon tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll run a marathon right now.
Really? You
I
do?
had my morning coffee. I'm ready to go. Somebody calls me right now. Oh, you have sparring in 30 minutes. Get ready. I'm ready. You know what I mean?
What about your vices? Do you have any vice? Smoking, drinking?
No, I've never
girls,
smoked
boys?
never smoked in my life. Never smoked in my life. Never been my thing. I don't judge. I don't say it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's just
Bro, it's a bad thing. Smoking?
Well,
I mean, smoking, not weed, but cigarettes?
Look,
That's a bad thing.
Some people did it. Mayorga did it. The Chico did it. The guy that Mayweather knocked out back in the day, out of camp. A lot of people did it. That when they get that fight date, they just get in that mode. It's something that's mental for them. But for me personally, again, I don't do it. It's never been my thing. Drinking, I have done it before, but I don't drink. I have taken a sip or two, but yeah, it's not my thing. I'm an athlete. I like to, take care of my body. My body is what's gonna get me that money. You know what I mean? And leave a legacy in boxing. If you don't take care of it, it's not gonna be good. And any vices? No, I like to spend time with my family. I like to spend time with my girlfriend. I'm a family man. You know what I mean? I like to spend time with family and just have a few friends. I keep my circle small and I keep to myself. I'm a man on a mission. I don't have like a lot of time to waste. I'm young, but I'm not super young. If I do this right for the next 5 years and I stay super focused, I'll never have to work a day in my life. You know what I mean?
What's the ultimate goal in your head? 4 belts? 1 belt?
Man, I don't like to put any like cap on it. The goal is to become world champion at 126, and then from there move up, and then from
Yeah, but
there
what
move
does it
up.
mean?
World champion? It means you're a world champion.
I mean, what kind of a belt?
Any belt, any.
Any of 4 majors?
Yes, exactly. Any of the 4 majors. Of course, you're in boxing, you want to become undisputed, but there's just so many aspects to this sport and this business that, like, you have to get on the right side of everything. You have to get on the right side of boxing, meaning you have to make sure that you have the correct team who's guiding you right. The guidance is very important. If you just work hard every day, you're just the hardest worker in the room. You have to know the right people. You have to be, pushed in the right direction. You have to have people in your corner that have the proper connections, right? And then you also have to be on the right side of politics. You can't be doing things and rubbing people the wrong way that have a good control in boxing. You know what I mean?
No, what do you mean?
Okay, for example, did you watch the fight versus Tim Bradley and Pacquiao?
No.
So Pacquiao truthfully won the fight, but he didn't get the decision. I believe it's because, and that was clear as day.
And the fight was here in Vegas?
The fight was here in the United States, yeah. Because he just probably didn't do something that, somebody didn't like. He probably said no to somebody, or, you know what I mean? And
that's called corruption.
Yeah, of course, but it's a known thing. It's a known thing. Maybe some people would be like, no, he's kind of reaching, he's kind of stretching reality. But no, this is a very known thing.
Would you say Loma was robbed against Haney?
I had him winning. It was a close fight. Again, he's not the youngest guy. When it's a close fight and you're fighting a world champion, you have to win decisively. I feel like Loma won the fight, but he kind of let off the gas the last round. He kind of felt like, oh, I won the fight, I'm going to chill. It's not the right thing to do, in my opinion. And I feel like that last round kind of cost him, the fight. Kind of like when he fought Tiafimo, he kind of started too late.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
But that was because of his shoulder, I want to say.
Probably. But again, like...
But he was the champ at the time. How do they say if you want to be a champ, you have to beat the champ?
But Teofimo did do that. Teofimo did do that, though. He did beat him. Because, again, maybe his shoulder or maybe he just turned on too late. But yeah, to get back on the Devin Haney and the Loma thing, I did have him winning. But I feel like maybe it's a personality thing or an ego thing when you think you're so much better stylistically and skillfully than your opponent, and you're like, oh, I got it in the bag. It's like, I think if you
I don't think Loma thinks that way.
You don't think so?
No, I believe he's super humble.
No, I know he's super humble, but I also know that, you could see it.
Tyson said yesterday the same thing. I thought I was winning the fight because he said if my corner would told me that I'm losing the fight, I would push the gas pedal to the floor and I would knock him out. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy. That was a great thing. I want to say the between 7th and 8th round, Usyk's corner. So they rest. Usyk is asking his corner, "Do you have the cross?" His coach is like, yeah. He gives the cross. He kisses the cross. Yeah. And after the next round, he almost knocks Tyson Fury out. That was amazing.
Yeah, Usyk, he's a great human being, huh? He's a great person. I don't know him personally, but how he presents himself, and the story with his father passed.
Yeah.
And, he said that he talked to his father or prayed and said, hey, stop visiting in my dreams. It's time for you to, rest up there and me to live here, It's kind of crazy.
Since I'm a Russian speaker, so I watched multiple interviews of Usyk. So he's a great human being. If you would have any chance to watch the interviews, if there are any captions in English, everyone should do it. He's a great human being, devoted to God, all that stuff, family guy. The first thing that Usyk yesterday said after the fight, he said in Ukrainian, he said, "Father, can you hear me? We did it." And he was like
crying.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Yeah, it's a great moment. It's great for boxing. I'm happy for him. Yeah, it sucks for Tyson, but Tyson will be back. He's Tyson. You know what I mean? Tyson Fury.
Yeah, but the one is 35, the other one is 37. I believe that's kind of a...
Yeah, but heavyweights have less wear and tear, right? Less wear and tear, less miles, that they've had in boxing. And they're not throwing 100 punches per round. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're throwing hard shots, but
and they fight once a year.
Yeah.
What would you like to fight ideally for you? Twice a year?
No, a lot more. For me, I would love to be as active as possible. Yeah,
but since you're up and coming, you want to fight as
minimum 4 times a year. That's
but
every
once you get to the top, like twice a year?
Yeah, once you get to the top, I believe that, twice, 3 times a year. Yeah.
Once a year is not the optimum fights, right? Because
it depends. It all depends. Like if you're a heavyweight and you're making 30 million, 40 million, 50 million per fight, why would you put more wear and tear on your body? You don't have to. You could spend time with your family. You don't understand. Like these fighters go away for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 3 months. They have no family time. They miss like huge moments. Imagine you miss your son's first day at school or his performance at school, like when you're a child, you look for your parents in the audience. Imagine like, oh, my dad was training camp, this and that,
Yeah, but that's more relevant to foreigners. For instance, the Usyk can't train in Ukraine because of the sparring partners of the war and etc. But if you're in the US, you can get your sparring partners right here.
Yeah, but you're not going to stay with your family. It's hard. Okay, hey, my son has a performance. I need to show up to sparring late. You're a world champion. There's no, I need to do this, I need to do that. Show your ass up to the gym, sharp, be ready. There can't be anything else in your mind. When you're at that level, everybody is strong, everybody is fast, everybody is equally physically capable. It's the little things that add up and allow you to, not allow you, but, get you to that top level and stay at that top level. People say it's easy to get to the top level, which it's not, but they say it's easy to get to the top level, but it's even harder to stay there. So it's easy to get that belt, right? But it's even harder to keep that belt.
Because of the pressure?
not the pressure, but you have people who, are hungrier than you,
They want to tear
who
you
haven't
apart.
tasted that.
Just like you, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Just like me. Exactly. So, yeah, I feel that, for example, like there's plenty of fighters that are from the United States, or, they don't do training camps in their hometown. They go to Florida, or they go to Big Bear, or they go, look at Canelo. He goes to, it's like a town by Lake Tahoe with elevation. You know what I mean? It's quiet. It's snowing, And on his recent, it's not 24/7 because HBO doesn't do boxing anymore, but, like the epilogue of his training camp, his wife told him, like, no, every 2 weeks we got to come and visit you because last training camp we didn't see you for 3 months, it's hard. So
That's the price they pay.
That's the price they pay. So to get back to what we were originally talking about, that one time a year, you're getting paid $50 million one time a year. You could just train and keep yourself in, that good shape, and
but the fans want to see you fight every 4 to 5 months.
Of course, but then to go to that, it's like you're fighting once a year. Those fans are gonna show up. Those fans are gonna show up. You're fighting every 4 months, 3 times a year. It's not as good.
I was nervous all that week prior to Usyk fight. I was like, the way he just got to Saudi, okay, the weigh-ins, the face-off, all that. I was like, the whole 5 to 6 days, I was nervous because Usyk is my guy. I can't root against this person.
Yeah, he's good.
But that's boxing, right? That's boxing or MMA, all the martial arts. But let's take basketball. Are you a basketball guy?
I watch it here and there, but I'm not like a huge basketball guy.
So, for instance, in NBA, they have 82 regular season games, 82 games. Then the playoffs, semifinals, and finals.
Everyone just starts watching at the playoffs.
Yeah, but they have like 2 months off, maximum a year.
Yeah.
And they go to 82 games. That's a lot. You almost play almost every day.
Yeah, but if you're a main player, they don't allow you to put wear and tear on your body. They'll have you sit out, or you only play 2 quarters, and then when it starts to get closer to
Bryant played like 40 minutes minimum.
But
he didn't see his family for sure.
We're talking about Kobe Bryant though. Kobe Bryant is a different human being. That he had that mentality, that Mamba mentality. He wanted that, you know what I mean? But he also talked about how he juggled his family time. He would still take his kids to school. He would still do, X, Y, and Z for his family, but he would only get like 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep. He was like, I'll just take naps. I'll take naps on the bus or on the helicopter or on my car, like in the car, wherever he needed to. He's like, I'll just take naps throughout the day. I'll get 4 hours of sleep, but, I'd wake up at 3 a.m., be to the gym by 3:34, take my shots, do this, practice my shooting, do some weights. Like in podcasts, he would like talk about his schedule. It was pretty crazy. He was like, I'd be home just in time. My kids would wake up. I would have breakfast with them. I would take them to school. I would go back to the gym. That's different.
That's psycho.
Different, yeah. Obsessed, but it's a beautiful thing to be obsessed, though. There's not a lot of human beings like that.
Can you say that you're obsessed with boxing?
Of course, you have to be.
Why boxing? Why not MMA, for instance?
I don't know. I just caught the boxing bug. I just caught it. I just fell in love with it. I did team sports my whole life, my whole childhood. I was pretty, I took a small break when I was like 10 years old, but, I did all the team sports you could think of. Baseball, soccer, water polo, this, that. I got into swimming because it was a single sport, If I put in all this work and I lose, it's because I need to get better. But in soccer...
You're not a team guy?
I'm not a team guy. I just work too hard. I work harder than anybody else. I'm the hardest worker in the room. I show up first. I leave last. When nobody's looking, I still go 110% every day. There's nobody that outworks me.
Who do you look up to?
There's a couple fighters I look up to, but my favorite fighter of all time is Roberto Durant. But as far as like looking up to, there's nobody that I specifically look up to. It's just certain styles that I like, and I take little pieces of their style and I make it into my own.
And personality-wise, who do you look up to?
There's nobody that I really like specifically look up to. It's just me personally. I don't have to talk a lot. You know what I mean? I don't have to talk a lot. I have power in both hands. I can knock somebody out
No,
with
I
my
mean,
left or my right, and yeah.
I mean, you definitely have those days when you don't want to train or you don't want to get up, don't want to eat even.
Yeah, you don't want to eat healthy, this and that, or you don't want to eat at all. But for me, I don't really have those days. I truly love what I do. Like, I don't, pack a briefcase and go to work. Like, I pack my sparring bag and with my gloves and I go to the gym. I truly love what I do. There's no real days that I'm like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. It's like, yeah, I'm sore and I'm tired, but like, okay, my left arm is sore. I'm going to use, just my right arm today. Oh, my back kind of hurts. I'm going to stretch it really well and, go lighter today. But every day I'm in the gym, like, I love to be there. Like, this boxing gym is a special place. If you've never been to a boxing gym, you got to go.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Everyone's humble there, or you're gonna get humbled right away.
100%.
You're not gonna get cocky there.
No.
One sparring round and you're done. The coach
100%.
knows. Yeah.
The coach knows, exactly.
Or you're too cocky. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's like, oh, I've had 100 street fights. The coach is in his head. It's like, okay, gear up. And they give him like the most basic guy in the gym, not the best guy, the most basic guy.
But he's technical.
But he's way better than the guy who's had 100 street fights. So yeah, you are either humble or humbled in the boxing gym.
That's a matter of time.
Yeah.
So when do you say you're gonna be a champ? 2025?
126, I'll win my first world title, and from then up, it's just
No,
up
the
and
year
up and up.
2025.
Yeah, I will be world champion. I've stated like 2 years or less, but yeah, it's gonna happen soon.
Let's say you've got scheduled a fight next year for the belt, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks before the fight, you have an injury. For instance, a fist or a wrist or a shoulder. Would you pull out the fight?
It depends on how severe the injury is. It depends how severe the injury is, but as your first world title shot, I don't know, because
Yeah, but that's
it
the
depends
question.
but it depends on the situation, because sometimes you won't get that chance again.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just gotta suck it up and figure it out. And like, no fighter goes in there 100% ever.
That's impossible,
Ever.
right?
It's impossible ever. So you never know. That the champion that you're fighting might be dealing with something too, whether it's an injury or something mentally outside of the ring that's kind of throwing him off. You never know. So I would say depends on the severity of the injury. If you can't walk, how are you gonna do it? You know what I mean?
Or you get caught 2 weeks prior to that and you kind of got a concussion, light one. But still, it depends.
It depends. Go out there and fight your ass off.
Do you have any kind of dream sponsorships in your mind? Who would you like to get
Dream
sponsored
sponsorship? I don't know. I think Nike's my favorite brand. Nike would be cool.
by? Do they
but
sponsor boxing?
They sponsor, yeah, they were sponsoring Pacquiao. They were sponsoring Tim Bradley. Yeah, they sponsored a couple fighters, but, boxing
Adidas
just,
is more into boxing, I want to say.
yeah, but boxing opens up the doors just to so many things, Look at, you could be an actor from boxing, you could just be like so charismatic that, some guy calls you one day and you're like, hey, you want to be in a movie? And then you're in a movie, and then, you start doing, type of like modeling for certain clothes, and then this and then that. It could go in so many different directions. That's why boxing is beautiful. It's not only just a sport, it opens so many doors, you know what I mean? There's plenty of boxers that's been in movies, you know what I mean?
Name me a few.
Victor Ortiz.
Oh, yeah. Expendables?
Victor Ortiz was one.
Tyson, obviously.
Tyson was obviously in one. Fernando Vargas Sr. was in a couple movies.
No idea who that guy is.
Fernando Vargas?
Yeah.
He was
What weight class?
He was the youngest 154-pound champion in history.
Oh,
Still
really?
to this day, yeah.
Mexican?
Yeah. His son's fight. That's why I went to go watch Emiliano Vargas. He's in the top ring. Yeah, his father was pretty legendary. Fought Tito Ortiz, De La Hoya. Tito Ortiz, what am I talking about? Tito Trinidad, my bad. It's because we were talking about Victor Ortiz. But yeah, Tito Trinidad, Oscar De La Hoya. Yeah, he fought a lot of guys. He beat Winky Wright. He beat a lot of guys.
The beef between Canelo and Oscar De La Hoya is amazing. Like, I thought they're going to have a fight, yeah. Did you see that press conference?
Yeah, that goes back to me talking about politics and, certain shady things that happen in the sport. People think that I'm speaking on it. It might be me reaching or stretching reality, but it's a very, very known thing in boxing. I believe Canelo's telling the truth, obviously, and Oscar De La Hoya is kind of protecting his image so other fighters don't get scared to get, signed to him and things like that. But there's plenty of shady things that happen in the side of the sport of boxing that nobody speaks on because, again, you don't want to rub somebody the wrong way. You don't want to get on somebody's bad side. You don't want to burn bridges because you never know when that person might come into play, either with you or against you. You never know. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's good for the sport. I like it. I like the drama. I like the shit talking. I like all that stuff.
I don't like the one thing that I don't like about the boxing is the best never fight the best. For instance, we had to wait for 25 years to get a fight for the undisputed heavyweight champ that occurred yesterday, right? Before that, they were talking a lot of time for years about the fight between Crawford and Spence. It happened, thank God. Before that, they were talking a lot about 10 years ago, 2013, the Pacquiao fought Mayweather, right?
Yeah.
And Pacquiao wasn't in his prime already.
Neither was Mayweather. Yeah.
You don't think Mayweather was in his prime?
He's like close to 40 years old.
At that time?
Yeah.
No way. He's 50 now?
He's close
He still
to 50.
fights. He whips some ass.
He's like 47, 48 years old. Yeah. When he fought Canelo, he was 46. A few years later, or a few years before, right? He fought, 2013. He was...
No way.
Yeah.
He's that old?
Yes. He just takes care of himself. He doesn't drink, doesn't do none of that.
He likes money.
Yeah.
Puts it on the table, films it.
Yeah.
No, bro, no. He's 47 now.
Yeah. So in 2013 when he fought
36.
he was that's still not
Prime?
No. You consider yourself in your prime?
Me? But do you know some kind of a guide? What do you have to do to not get in trouble with the promotions, with the politics in boxing?
There's no guide. That's why it's so important that you have the proper people around you. Everybody thinks, I'm such a good amateur, or I want to turn pro so bad, I'm going to go ahead and just turn pro. I'm gonna turn pro. I'm gonna make money. That's actually the opposite. When you're building your record, you spend more money. You know how much money it takes to build a fighter, to promote a fighter? It takes a lot of money, brother. It takes so much time and so much money to build that. So that's why it's very important to have the right people around you, and it's very important also for fighters coming up. Any amateur fighters that watch this or whatever, fighters coming up, it's very important to have the right people around you. But also, people don't think that social media is like such a big deal. It's not about having a bunch of followers. It's about getting the practice about being in front of a camera. It's about getting your character out there. It's about, building all those things so it's easier to promote you. So it's more of a we want to promote this guy. Look at all this stuff that he has. You know what I mean? He speaks 2 languages. He speaks English. He speaks Russian. Or he speaks English. He speaks Spanish. He speaks this. He speaks that. He's charismatic. People like him. He's kind of humble, but also he doesn't take too much shit. He kind of, does, a little bit of shit talking. He's easily promoted because, he's good looking, or he has stylistically, he's really exciting. There's so many aspects to being, promoted. You know what I mean?
So one of the best examples right now is what? Ryan Garcia?
That's one blueprint. That's one blueprint that you could give. You know what I mean? But he had followers even as an amateur. You know what I mean? He got into social media when it wasn't as popular. And he already had I think 70,000, 60,000 followers as an amateur. You know what I mean? And then he turned pro at 17, built his record in Mexico, came here to the U.S.
That's the blueprint.
It's one of the blueprints. He signed a promotional deal to Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy, but he also spoke about early in his career that boxing wasn't making him his main money. due to social media. He was sponsored by Gymshark and other platforms, and he was making millions already. Why, when he was fighting, he was only getting paid 25 or 50,000. What's 25 or 50,000 after you pay your percentages and Uncle Sam, the government, you pay taxes? It's not really much. You're gonna see half. So, it's important. That's one of the blueprints. But, if you have money behind you or some sponsors, look how Devin Haney did it. Yeah, he turned pro 17 years old, but he also came to the U.S. and started building, and he got to a certain point in his career where he didn't have to sign 5 years to a promotional deal of his life and his career to a specific promotion. He would sign 3-fight deals. He was with Top Rank when he beat Kambosos. That's how him and Kambosos fought. Then he was signed to Matchroom at one point. So he's doing 2-3 fight deals and going here and going there. And he's on these worldwide promotions, getting known worldwide, making his money, and he's not secured down 5 years. What, we don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. Imagine 5 years of your life signed to this specific promotional company. You know what I mean? It's kind of scary. I'm 25 years old. In 5 years I'll be 30.
Yeah.
So
what looks now a great deal is not going to be a great deal in 5 years, maybe in 2 years.
Of course. So that's why, build yourself to a point where you have some leeway with these promotional companies where you could be like, hey, let's sign a 3-fight deal or our first fight together. I could sell tickets, this and that, just to show you that I can sell tickets. What I say I'm doing, I am doing. And then we could build a relationship after that, something like that. You know what I mean? But it could go in so many different directions. You know what I mean?
Wasn't Floyd promoting himself?
So Floyd was signed at Top Rank, and at a certain point of his career, he bought himself out of the contract for $750,000, and made his own.
It's like pennies.
At the time, maybe it wasn't, but now, it was the best possible thing ever. But he rolled the dice on himself. That's what you have to do. That's self-confidence. No one's gonna believe in you unless you believe in yourself. He believed in himself. He's like, this contract doesn't make any sense. These fighters, who are signed to Top Rank, are making so much more money than me, but I'm doing the same thing, beating even better guys. At 130 and 140, he was a knockout machine, Mayweather. He was pretty boy Floyd. He wasn't Money Mayweather yet. I think he made that transition after he fought Oscar de la Hoya. That's the last time he ever fought on the B side, as the underdog.
Yeah.
But he beat him and became, Floyd Money Mayweather. You know what I mean? So there's so many different directions he could go in.
Can you explain me who pays this amount of money for his exhibition fights right now? No one's watching it.
I have no clue. I don't know.
I understand that, for instance, right now Saudis pay a lot of money for Ngannou, Fury, Usyk, Joshua, because they have a lot of money. They want to get a lot of attention to their Riyadh city in Saudi.
Yeah.
But those exhibition fights, no one's watching it. It's like the sparring at the gym is far more brutal than those exhibition fights that Floyd fights.
Yeah, but when you're a fan of boxing and you have so much money, don't you think you throw that not couple million, but you throw those millions at it? I don't think that it's too much money for them. I think people that are throwing those type of exhibition fights are smart businessmen, and they wouldn't just do something that doesn't make sense for them. You know what I mean? So as far as who's paying for it and how they're doing it, God, who knows? But trust me, they're not going to do something that's going to inconvenience them. You know what I mean? They're not going to do something financially that's going to put them in a bad place. Whether they spend 10 million or 100 million or just 2 million, it makes sense for them. That's how, the event is happening.
What do you think of Jake Paul?
I think he's actually doing good stuff for the sport of boxing in the beginning.
Would you call him a boxer?
He's doing what every other pro boxer does. He built himself with lesser opponents, and now, he took a risk with fighting Tommy Fury. He lost, and now he's building himself back up. But as far as calling him a boxer, some of these boxers are in it since they were 8 years old, but he's doing really good things. Look, Amanda Serrano is one of the fighters that are signed under him. The most that she saw before Jake Paul, and she's so accomplished, and she has so many titles and so many different weight classes that she's fought in, right? She only saw 50K. she saw her first like $2-3 million purse fight with Jake Paul promoting it because, he brings viewers, he brings money. So I think he does good things for the sport of boxing, but at the same time, can you call him a boxer? Yeah, like why not? He puts in the work, he's, doing his thing. You can't really hate on the guy. In the beginning, I kind of was like,
He was fighting basketball guy?
that was his first fight, yeah, but it's not even that. It's like in the beginning, he's talking, trash and building up the fight, and people are like, he's not taking it serious. It's a disrespect to boxing because people work so hard. But look what he's doing. He's doing full training camps in Puerto Rico at state-of-the-art facilities with great coaches, training 2-3 times a day. So he's putting in the work now. So,
It seems like he's juiced.
Maybe not. I don't know.
He's huge now. Have you seen his press conference against Mike Tyson?
Yeah, but I think he just put on weight. I think that he's not having his diet team with him or, his chef with him. He's just eating good. I think that. I don't think he's juiced. For people to be juiced, you see him like big, right? You see him big, but then all of a sudden they get crazy veins, crazy shredded everywhere, like their trap muscles are like connected to their neck. They have no more neck. I don't think he's juicing.
Yeah, but you can juice and eat like shit. Then you look like. Well, he doesn't look like shit. He looks pretty much decent, just not muscular, but not that veiny.
Yeah. So I don't think he's juicing. I think.
But he's heavy. I want to say he's minimum 210.
Oh,
he's
a lot bigger. He says that he's 230 or something.
230.
Like that. Yeah.
Man, that's a lot.
Well,
Usyk weighed in 225.
But not really. This guy's 6'2", right?
Yeah.
You're 6'2". You're eating healthy food, but whatever you want. A steak, baked potato, pasta, broccoli, every meal like that. Like big portions, this and that. He's training every day, lifting weights and doing running and boxing, and he naturally probably walks around at 6'2", a grown man, 6'2", athletic. He probably walks around 210, 215, gaining 15 pounds because you're eating good and you're not limiting your calorie intake. It's not really far-fetched.
I don't get the hating of this guy when he fought Tyron Woodley. He knocked the guy out.
Yeah.
He fought Nate Diaz. Okay, Nate Diaz is 40 years old.
Incredible, but
he did everything he wanted with Nate. Nate did nothing to him.
MMA striking is different than boxing striking.
Yeah, but Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz, they were prominent with their boxing skills.
Well,
Nick Diaz boxing is good.
It looks that way because they're fighting other MMA fighters that don't typically know how to punch correctly or punch. It's not punching correctly because 4-ounce MMA gloves, if you punch like that, you're going to hurt somebody. It's just natural.
Yeah.
But how you're taught to punch in boxing is, to hurt somebody with boxing gloves.
And boxing gloves, they're always 8 ounces?
No, 147 and below is 8 ounces and 154 and above is 10.
10. Only 10.
Yeah.
Do you spar with 14?
I spar with 14 or 16 depending on what the sparring partners want to do.
16? Those are heavy.
Yeah, they're heavy.
You feel them.
Yeah, and you start to, get gas. If you're not used to sparring with 16-ounce gloves, and then you do it like randomly one day, you get gassed quick. You're like, what? Like my hands are heavy.
Dumbbells, holding a dumbbell.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Who do you think takes the fight, Paul or Tyson?
Paul,
if that's a fair fight, because
Paul,
I got some.
Jake Paul. I think Mike Tyson obviously is a legendary fighter. He's done his thing, but you're 57 years old. Whether you keep your shape or not, or you got muscles or not.
Have you seen
57
him moving?
is 57. Yeah,
he's quick.
Him. Yeah, but does everybody remember
that guy is juiced for 100%?
No.
He's juiced, bro. He's 57. Do you think he looks after his diet?
Yeah. I think he looks after his diet.
I he's juiced up to his eyebrows.
You think so?
Yes. He's quick. Look at how quick he is.
He looks quick on the pads, but he looked like that before he did the exhibition with Roy Jones Jr. And look how he looked in the fight. He did not look good. He looked slow. He looked this. He looked that. He had a couple spurts that he looked good, but
didn't he tell that he didn't want to knock out Roy Jones because he's old, he's a legend, and there's no beef between the guys?
But don't even think about knockout. Just look how he looked. Now you're fighting a 28-year-old person that
But Tyson has the mileage. He knows how to cut the distance.
Yeah, he has
With this
experience.
hook, one hook, he's done. You want to bet $10 bucks?
Yeah, we could bet $50. But yeah, I don't know. I think Mike Tyson is far beyond his years, and 57 and 27, the age difference. Because remember, like, yeah, Jake Paul is not that good of a boxer, but you think he's gonna risk taking another loss on his record? No, he's doing this on purpose. He is gonna win. You know what I mean? He's got to keep the show going. He's got to keep, the money coming.
Why does Mike doing it?
For money, of course. Mike
They're gonna
Tyson
like 50
is
million?
Easily, probably, after everything, the sponsors to this, the pay-per-view to this.
No pay-per-view, Netflix.
Okay, Netflix. Just through everything.
They got a lot of money.
Just through everything. I believe he'll walk around with like 30, 40, 50, in between 30 and 50 million. That's a lottery ticket for Tyson. Even if Tyson gets knocked out, he's going to get up and just, probably whisper in his ear, "Thanks, bro. Thanks for the 50 million. That's going to, change my life and my family's life." And you know what I mean? Because he's well off now, but being well off plus another 50 million.
For 50 million.
You know what I mean?
It changes lives.
It really does. It's generational wealth right there. You know what I mean? For his kids, grandkids, and then the kids after that.
Bro, explain me the difference between MMA fighters, champions, and their boxing skills,
Yeah.
and true boxers.
So
Why there's such a gap between them?
I've also sparred MMA champions like TJ Dillashaw, and he has respectable boxing.
Yes, in MMA.
Respectable striking.
Yes.
And I sparred him just strictly boxing. Obviously if I did MMA, freaking break my arm or whatever. But yeah, in boxing for his sport, because it's two different sports. For his sport, I was actually like, okay, like he could box a little bit. I like that. Like, that's good, man. Like, good stuff. I would also say Max Holloway is good with his boxing, and I would also say Justin Gaethje.
Yeah.
He looks pretty solid. Obviously, hands down, this and that, but it's different.
But he strikes like this. When he throws a hook, his elbow is always down.
Yeah, but for MMA, it's good. You don't see a lot of MMA fighter. I mean, you don't see a lot of boxing fighters like switching in and out of southpaw and convention and this and that. But TJ Dillashaw does it because he has to set up kicks, block certain strikes and stuff like that. So it's respectable.
So why there is such a big gap between them?
Because of that. Because
boxers train only boxers for decades, and those guys train jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and boxing, and Muay Thai, kickboxing, all this.
No, it's that they have to worry about other things. MMA fighters, they have to worry about somebody shooting a takedown on them. They have to worry about somebody shooting a kick. They have to worry about somebody grabbing them and clinching them. Yeah.
But technique-wise,
but for those reasons, if you're just like this with a wide boxing, not wide, but a normal boxing stance, they're going to kick your leg off and you're not going to be able to walk around anymore.
Yeah.
Your leg is going to be,
or take
people
you down.
or take you down. People could do so many, or take so many leg kicks, inside leg kicks or the outside of the leg.
Calf
kicks before they can't even walk. They start to limp. So usually in a boxing stance, your feet are faced this way to protect your body. Your arm is lined up against your ribs. You keep a tight guard. But MMA is more out here because they have to worry about a kick. Boom, they could counter back. Their stance are different because they could easily get out the way or check a kick or stuff a takedown, something like that. But that's what I believe. So it's because they have to worry about so many. It's not just about throwing. You know what I mean? It's about like great fighters. They're not worried about throwing. They know how to throw. They're worried about okay, if he throws a straight right, I'm in the right position to slip and get him and do this and do the next step and the next step. You're not really worried about just throwing.
How about power-wise? MMA champions, boxing champions, or boxing great fighters. Is there a gap as well?
I don't know. I've heard that there's some MMA fighters that hit pretty hard, like Alex Pereira.
Yeah.
Like, I heard Justin Gaethje, Khabib talked about it.
Yeah.
Khabib was like, Justin Gaethje, like, he hit me. I still feel it till this day. you know. So I don't know. They're in 4-ounce gloves, different gloves. Boxing is 8-ounce gloves or 10-ounce gloves, so it's a little different. But it's a completely different world though. As far as like technique wise, yeah, I just believe that they're getting ready to defend and they have to worry about so many other things than just striking like boxing.
Honestly, I was so amazed what Anthony Joshua did to Ngannou. Like, he.
But that's like okay, you're a basketball fan, right? That's like saying like one of your best basketball players like, oh, go play soccer. And you were surprised that he didn't do good. But it is like that. I know what you're going to say. That's kind of far-fetched. Yeah. I know you're going to say that, but it's really not. I promise you. It's like a different world because I've tried, a couple jiu-jitsu classes and I've done a couple sparrings of MMA with kicking and takedowns and everything. Bro, it's a different world. Different, like completely. If you're just a straight up boxer and you go into an MMA gym and you just try to do it,
and they know that you're just a boxer.
No, it's not even about that. It's just like the technique, how you stand, how you put yourself in position, how you block certain things. In MMA gloves, if you do this, like you catch a shot in boxing, that's gonna go right through the guard and hit you in the ear. If you catch a shot in boxing because you have more of the glove and everything, you're gonna block it. You know what I mean? It's, bro, completely different.
I was more amazed of the AJ's power because Ngannou was hit in MMA multiple times by big guys, but when he was hit by Joshua, he felt right away. 3 times he was in 2-time knockdown, and the 3rd time there was a knockout.
Yeah.
So that means that boxers hit much harder.
I wouldn't say it's harder. It's just more. In boxing gyms, they focus on hitting with the knuckles, hitting accurately right on the jaw, hitting somebody when they're not expecting it. In MMA, they're throwing and then grabbing and picking up and throwing down, or they're throwing and kind of slapping with this part of the glove, and since it's a smaller glove, they could get away with that. If you punch somebody like this in boxing, they're just gonna, it's a slap. It's not the same. But yeah, I guess you could say that it's stronger, but it's not stronger. I just think that it's placed better. It's better technique.
You think Mayweather was playing with Conor all those 10 rounds?
100%. He could have knocked him out in the 2nd round if he wanted to.
Really?
Yeah, he put on a show. He put on for the fans. He let it go some rounds. A lot of people say Mayweather's not strong, but people who have sparred him and I've spoke to them, they're like, bro, like that dude hits hard. Anybody who says he doesn't hit hard, they're lying. His jab to the body, like his classic jab to the body, is like a true body shot. It's like somebody hitting you with their leg, like a kick. You know what I mean?
What's the deal with the body shots? For instance, if it doesn't knock you down, right? So shot after shot after shot that you take to the body, it kind of constricts you with movement. You can't move properly once you get X amount of body shots.
I say body shots are like money in the bank. It just adds up. So in the 1st round, you hit them, to the body, and then the 2nd round, more, 3rd round, 4th round, so on and so forth. By the 7th round, they're just exhausted. It takes the wind out of you. You know what I mean? It makes you tired. But if you place like a perfectly placed liver shot, like perfectly, if you're an orthodox fighter and you throw, because it's on the right side, the liver, and you throw, left hook to the body, it's one of the prettiest punches in boxing, and you place it perfectly to the liver, it'll paralyze you. It's like, it's worse than a headshot. Getting caught clean to the body, you'll be down for like 3, 4, 5 minutes.
And sometimes you have to wait a second or two, right? When you feel the liver shot.
Yeah, you'll be moving around and it'll take the wind out of you and you're like, oh.
Right now.
Yeah, you're frozen. You're like, oh. That's what Loma did to Kambosos.
Yes.
Yeah. He caught him first to the jaw and then he fell and the ref was like, no, he fell. It was a trip. It was like they got too close and he tripped. That wasn't the case. He got caught clean on the jaw, and then when he got up, he went straight to the body. And that's what you're supposed to do. You hurt somebody, go straight to the body. You hurt somebody to the jaw, they're going to start protecting their head. Their body's open. Boom, caught him to the liver. You see it first thing, Kambosos is like, he turned the other way, yeah.
In body shots are the best places, obviously a liver, but you can do everything. The solar plex, to the chest, everything you feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at Canelo when he fought that one English dude, Callum Smith or something like that. He kept punching him in the arm. You know, that's part of the body. By the 9th round, he had a second bicep on the side of his arm. It was like crazy. You know what I mean? Imagine punching somebody in the collarbone or in the neck right here. It's still legal.
You know what's interesting about boxing, for instance, in comparison to MMA? In MMA, if you don't get any knockdowns, right? You either knock out a guy or he recovers, then the break and etc. But in boxing, if you have one knockout, 10 seconds, you rush in, you do the job. Yeah. It's almost, if you have a knockout, it's almost a win-win situation for you. You're going to finish it either in this round or in the second round, because it's like no chance to recover fully, right?
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, some people say that that's why there's more deaths in boxing than MMA. Because in MMA, when you get knocked down, like you just said, the guy's going to come, he's either going to submit you or keep punching you and you're done, or you're going to recover and get up. But in boxing, when you get knocked down, you're concussed. You have a concussion, you know? So you go down, you get up, you're tough. I'm a fighter, I'm tough. You go down, I'm a fighter. And then you continue the fight, you keep getting punched. You know, that's when brain injuries and stuff like that happen.
And that's why you see those throwing towels in boxing.
Yeah, you don't want to take too much punishment. Would you rather take so much punishment in a fight where you'll never be the same again?
Yeah.
Or would you rather the towel be thrown in, a smart coach, the towel be thrown in at a certain point? Obviously, if it's a flash knockdown, get up, continue, whatever. But if your fighter is truly hurt and he's taking too much damage, if they throw in the towel, he will come back and he will be better. You know, you don't want him too damaged where he'll never be the same. Some people claim that Errol Spence, he's never going to be the same. He was beat up that bad and hurt. And they say once you get hurt to your jaw, it's like a twisted ankle. It's going to keep happening and keep reoccurring. You know, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's like having a glass jaw. It's not that bad than having a... How do you say it? A diamond jaw. When you can take a lot of punches and you don't get down.
Or you get down and keep getting up.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury.
Brain damage.
Yeah.
In 20 years, 30 years.
So a lot of brain damage happens in boxing due to dehydration and cutting weight. So there's a certain film around your brain that... Let's just say you're an everyday person, you're not in boxing, and you get into a motorcycle accident. You're fully hydrated, fully fed, regular human being, right? There's a certain film, you know, a liquid around your brain that protects it when you fall. Your brain bounces around your skull. You know, that is a certain cushion.
Yeah.
When you dehydrate yourself to the point where there's no more liquid in your body, that's the last liquid to go when you dehydrate around your brain. So if you dehydrate yourself too much and you cut weight the wrong way, you take away that film from your brain and that cushion from your brain, and then you're getting punched. And then your head and your brain is just bouncing around your skull, and then you start to have bleeding in your skull. So it's really due to dehydration. Imagine you have a laptop and you just do this. It's not good for your laptop, you know what I mean? Imagine your brain, you know? You're like, hey, don't do that to my laptop. But then fighters are going in there and they're getting, you know, punched in their head, you know?
What do you think of Powerslap?
Powerslap?
You watch
that. I've seen a couple of videos. It's kind of crazy. But,
are you fascinated with this sport?
No, I'm not fascinated with it. It's more of like when you see the clips, you laugh and you're like, damn, that person just got slapped and, you know, they got knocked out. But it's kind of crazy.
Nothing funny right there. They got knocked out.
Yeah. It's nothing funny, but at the same time, when, you know, people make memes online, you know, it's a little funny.
Do you think that's a sport?
No, I don't think it's a sport, but I mean, I also don't think that it's... Because I've heard one of the fighters on the clip, they cut weight and they call it a fight. It's not a fight. You're not fighting. You're allowing somebody to slap you in the face, and then you go and slap them in the face. So I'm not degrading the sport or whatever, but it's not my thing.
Listen, so I'm a big fan of UFC. I'm a big fan of what Dana White does, especially what he did in 2020 when he didn't shut down the whole sport and etc. But when he promotes slap and he says that the slap is right now is like the UFC was 20 years ago when people were saying that just cockfighting. Bro, the UFC, the MMA, you can defend yourself.
Yeah.
Right here, you just stand like this.
Yeah.
And you're just waiting. And it's like 90% you're going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
For what? For 10K? When girls do that?
Mm-hmm.
That's madness. That's not sport.
No, I know. I agree with you. But again, to go back to like the business people, it's obviously making sense for them financially. Maybe not the people getting slapped. I don't know. I don't know their pay or whatever. But as far as the people running the organization and doing it, they're obviously getting some sort of views. They're obviously, getting what they need to continue making the sport happen. You know what I mean? They wouldn't inconvenience themselves. You know
Yeah,
what
but
I mean?
can you imagine how boxing evolved in the last 50 years,
Yeah.
100 years, like two totally different sports. MMA evolved in the last 10 years. How can power slap evolve? Like you're just slapping. When you watch boxing, like the head movement, the legs, you see that's an art, right? In MMA, you see you can submit a guy, you can choke him out, you can leg lock, you can knock him out, all that stuff. But power slap is like what's gonna happen. There's gonna be a slap, 3, 2, 1, now, boom.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, but only time will tell. As far as like as it is a sport, I think people just watch it as to see how many slaps somebody could take. You know what I mean? Even at one of the end of the power slap, the guy didn't get knocked down ever, but he had a hematoma on his head. He had like a second head.
Yes.
Like a huge bump. So I don't know. I
It's
don't know.
definitely not good for health. Like definitely, for sure.
No.
What are your thoughts on bare knuckle?
Bare knuckle, I mean, everybody that you see doing bare knuckle comes out like their face was put in a blender. It's brutal. It's very brutal.
And their fists,
Yeah, they have like a wrist like thing to help their wrist, but yeah,
I
no.
believe it's broken every time.
Yeah, their hands are probably broken, nose broken every show, hand
Teeth
broken
out.
every show, teeth out. It's brutal, but some people like that, to each their own, but I don't believe I would do it. Unless it would be like some like crazy amount of money. You know what I mean? Some like crazy amount of money.
I think that the bare knuckle, the slaps, is like pervert sport. Like you just want to get attention. You just want to get money. And if you can make it in boxing or you can make it in MMA, you go over there. There's no chance if you're good at the UFC or good at boxing, you're gonna take the chance and go to bare knuckle.
Yeah.
One fight and you can be like done. You can get paralyzed, all that stuff.
No, I know.
Fucking
Yeah, but that's how boxing started, right? In Greek Roman times, they would have like a leather thing around their wrist, and then they would put like shards of glass or shards of clay, and they would fight to the death. So people could claim that it's
That's not
back
a myth.
in time, but that's not a myth. That's like the history of boxing, how it first started.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like the Greek Roman times. Fight
People
to
were
the
watching,
death.
cheering up.
Yeah, in the Colosseums.
Wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the first fights of the UFC? No weight classes?
I remember seeing little clips. So when I first saw UFC, I was young. My dad had it on. He was watching The Ultimate Fighter. And, I just remember seeing little clips of that. But I have seen like UFC 1, UFC 2. Like in the beginning, you could wear shoes or not. No weight classes. You fight multiple times in one night.
You can punch to the balls.
You could stomp. You could eye poke.
Fish hook.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That was called the sport back then.
Yeah.
But-
But again, look where it's evolved.
Yeah,
to.
it's evolved.
It's taking
biggest
over.
sport.
It's taking over. It's one of the biggest sports. And it's so much more appealing than boxing because the best fight the best no matter what. Like Dana White is going to make you fight. And if you don't want to fight, then, maybe you'll be sat down for a few years or you'll just won't be part of the UFC. You'll be released and you could go fight Bellator or something. I don't know. But
And they know how to promote.
crazy. Because they make the best fights. They just put up a poster of like the best fighting the best, and that's all they have to do.
Yeah.
They don't have to do much more than that. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. And like UFC fans, they're less. It's not judgmental, but they're more supportive of they're people that they support, they're fighters that they support. Like in boxing, like you were saying, like, hey, can't that be detrimental in your career? You take one loss, this and that. In the UFC, look at Nate Diaz. He had 15 losses, still a superstar, still making millions. You have 2 losses in boxing. You're kind of considered like, hey,
done.
Like get out of boxing. Like, bro, like this is not for you. Like, you know. So I don't know. That's why UFC is kind of taking over. The best fight the best, and you know, you will get paid less in the UFC, but you're gonna fight more throughout the year in the UFC. So, you know, they fight 3 times by $250K, you know what I mean? But then in boxing, and maybe they'll lose 1 time or even 2 times in the UFC. But if you lose 1 time in boxing, you'll get paid 1 time $750K, that 1 fight, and if you lose and you come back, you're gonna be paid $50K. You know what I mean? Like,
you see, there are fighters in the UFC that have almost, like, for instance, 10 victories and 8 losses, but they always show up and they put on a fight. That's why they're in the UFC still, because the fights are amazing. But in boxing, just you told me that people can earn more money in boxing, but it's like 0.0001%. Like Usyk, and they get 50 million.
Yeah.
Okay, Crawford, maybe he makes like 20 to 30 million, but he's
now at the end of
one.
But he in the beginning it wasn't like that for him. He had to go through so much, and now at the end of his career, still accomplishing so much. Like just now, he's getting the credibility and the money that he deserves. So, it's tough.
And he's what, 40-0, 41-0, something like that.
Something
it's
like that.
It's impossible to get that kind of a record in MMA. There is no chance. No way. Whew, brother. I like the podcast. The last question on my podcast is always the same. Let's have 2 assumptions with you. Okay. Assumption number 1 is the President of the United States is the most powerful human being on planet Earth. Assumption number 2 is you become one. You become the President of the US, and the Secret Service comes at you and says, hello, Mr. President, congratulations, you're the man now, right?
Yeah.
We are Secret Service. We know all the answers in the world. You ask us, we give you an honest answer. We know the truth. What would be your first question?
Man, this is a hard one. I'm not sure. I wouldn't even accept the job because I don't believe that the president is the biggest all-knowing human being.
I said that's an assumption.
You know what I mean? I don't believe so. I feel like he's just a puppet to the puppet show, and there's a higher power, with the government, and the higher power people, the more of the higher elites, they really call the shots, and they do that type of stuff.
Then why they hate Trump so much if he's not capable of doing the right decisions, the big decisions?
I don't know. I feel like maybe he goes against the script. Maybe he goes against the script, and he doesn't want to be controlled or go with what they're saying or what they're doing.
Yeah, but that means he's got some power, at least some.
Maybe.
Okay, so let's assume you have some power, and the Secret Service know all the answers. You can have a lot of questions answered. The first question is going to be what?
I don't know. Man, that's tough. I don't know. That's a good one. There's so many conspiracies out there that you would want to know the truth to,
That's why I asked what would be the first one.
Like, I don't know. Maybe why aren't we allowed to visit certain parts of Antarctica?
Ooh, that's the question.
Maybe that's a good one. What are they hiding? We're not allowed to fly over there. We're not allowed to do this. I know certain countries have a treaty saying like we won't fly over here, or we'll do this or we'll do that with the United States about Antarctica. But yeah, there's so many conspiracies out there that you would want to know the truth to. That you would want to know the secrets to. Maybe Antarctica, aliens, stuff like that. Because there's plenty of conspiracies out there that aliens are really real. We've been knowing about it. We're in cahoots with them. They live in the ocean. We only know 3% of the ocean, or this or that. Man, it could go on for days. But maybe Antarctica. That's a good one,
Would you expose it to the public as a president?
It depends. Why haven't they exposed it yet? Is it going to cause, some crazy thing, or...
I believe so. I believe they're just afraid that it's going to cause big chaos.
I don't know. I believe that the people are maybe not scared, but maybe it'll make them realize some things that will make them come together instead of being so divided. Because when people are together, they're stronger. And when people are divided, I feel like, they're not as strong.
And right now, the Americans are so divided. Like, bro, it's so sad to see as a foreigner. Like, why are you fighting? It's like they hate each other.
Yeah.
You vote for this guy? No, I voted for that guy.
Yeah. Oh, you voted for this guy? You're a racist. Oh, you voted for this guy? You're an idiot. You're a liberal.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be about that. I feel like it's very similar to, like, over periods of time. Like, look, for example, like religion. You believe in your religion, I believe in my religion, but at the end of the day, we all believe in God. God is a higher power, right? Why are we so divided? Oh, you believe in that religion? You're this, you're an extremist, you're that, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you all pray to a God, to a higher power. And I feel like that divides people. And I also feel like, politics divides people, and there's a purpose behind it.
Sure.
I believe that over time, religions have been changed, Bibles and this and that have been changed, and I feel like the rules of the politics have changed, and I feel like, they call it a democracy or this or that, but yeah, the president is just a puppet in a puppet show, in my opinion.
Bro, like 20 to 30 years ago, there were mafia gangs. It's almost no mafia and gangs right now, so who rules?
No, they're still there. They're just, they're different. They're not called a mafia or a gang. It's different.
They sit in a different place with the suits.
The elites, the higher, But yeah.
Bro, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
May God bless you. May you be
You as
healthy
well.
across
you.
all your life and all your career.
Yeah.
I would love to see you with the belt in the Hustle Striking gym one day.
Yeah.
I hope that's gonna be.
It's coming soon. I promise. I've already put it out there in the universe. Manifested. I work hard for it. I've seen it. Every time I go to sleep, I wake up. I have the belt around my waist. I already know I'm world champion. It's just time to show you guys. It's time to prove to you guys.
God bless.
Thank you.